Here's your host, Jack, the world's first personal entertainer.
So whether you're already a front door champion or you're just thinking about joining us here, welcome to the live stream. Every week we come to you live via the YouTube, via the socials, and we pick apart what's happened this week at the gym. I run a gym here in Melbourne, in Down Under in Australia, and I'm so blessed to have so many clients who teach me constantly, at showing me and sharing with me what's happening in their lives. And I bring it to you through the live stream, and I have people who are doing the front door challenge. And what we do with that is I'm so lucky I get people emailing me and giving me feedback. And of course, through the live streams, you can go on there and you can ask me questions. You can ask me anything, reach out, blah, 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 and give me the feedback. And I can share this information with the members and share this with you doing the live stream now. And also weekly, every week we do a live stream. So thanks so much. And don't forget to drop questions, chats. I'll get to you as soon as I can. And if you're watching this on replay, please comment, because I'll get right back to you and I'll email you. And if you can, go to our website. On the website, right down the bottom, there's a bit where you can actually talk to me. You hit the record and you can leave a voice message, and I can play that on a live stream if I feel that's necessary, or I can at least call you back and talk back to you. So it's like having a two-way conversation, because it's all about having someone supporting you. And that's what we're going to talk about today. This week, a few things that happened at the gym, and it's quite sad. One of them, I want to talk to you about the good doctor. Creating a medical check-in, which I'm going to be doing tomorrow afternoon with a great doctor of ours who's been with us for, I think, nearly about 15 years. He's been training with us about 3 or 4 times a week. Fantastic doctor. I'm going to talk to you about the doctor. I'm going to also teach you about how to eat, and probably the two best things to help you lose weight. They're going to be your key to success. And I want to recap from another great doctor. Last week we mentioned Dr. Sigmund Freud. I'll be telling you about Sigmund Freud. And I've also got a special topic today about the ladies who want to kill you. There's some girls out there, some ladies out there who want to kill you, and I'm going to help you so they don't. Okay, so come on, stay with us, guys. We've got a lot to get through in this live segment here. So this week in the men's movement, what's been happening at the gym? This week we're talking about, I mentioned before, I had a lady come in and she said, if I don't exercise and do this session with you weekly, I will kill someone and murder someone at home. And I wanted to mention this because although we're talking about the men's movement, this is very special, not just for the men, but your partners, your sister, your workmates, your female boss, your mother maybe. I want to talk about perimenopause and menopause. The sad thing about this is it's like it's been misdiagnosed. It's not about them feeling angry. It's not they're in a mood. They're not doing this because they want to do this, because they're going through this. It's chemical. It's a chemical reaction to what's happening in their body. And one of the best things you can do for this, in fact, the rage, the menopause rage is decreased by up to 50% if you do this. Your cortisol levels increase by about 42% if you do this. And as well as that, you get all the great things. Your bone density goes up, you feel good, you're less argumentative at work, you're less angry at home, your family's not walking on eggshells around you, your kids are not less worried. Because this is the thing we talk about in the men's movement, creating a change. And if we can create a change for one person, we have a ripple effect that changes the shape of the whole community, one man at a time. That's our slogan. But what we can do is create a ripple effect at home. And offer support to your partner, offer support to your family members, your sisters, your aunties, your mother. Offer support to these people at work. You're not trying to fix them. You can't fix people who are experiencing menopause. It's not about fixing. They're experiencing a thing which is a chemical imbalance. You can't fix them about, hey, just go for a walk and you'll be fine. Or, hey, take a chill pill and you'll be fine. Or, it doesn't work like that, sadly. You've got to get to the movement, but it's this particular type of movement. And today I want to talk about you supporting that movement. Don't offer, hey, go for a walk, you'll be better. Or, hey, why don't you start exercising? Because that's going to possibly enrage the rage. Okay, you're coming from a great place. You're coming from a possibly you're trying to help, you're trying to solve, but you're not acknowledging how they're feeling, and also just going for a walk, doing a yoga session, doing a stretching session is not good enough. You've got to have intent, and you've got to do it consistently. And there's a lot of buzzword at the moment for a lot of the females out there. They're seeing doctors, and the doctors are telling them, because I have clients come in pretty much weekly now, probably about between 3 and 5 a week are coming in and saying, I went to the doctor and they said, I have to start doing resistance training. I said, well, you've always done resistance training. You've been doing resistance training, you just haven't been doing it consistently, and you haven't been doing it with intent. I've got a lady at the moment who 4 weeks ago was happy lifting 50 pound in a lateral pull down. Now she's up to 90 pound. In 4 weeks, she's nearly doubled the weight she can lift because she's doing it now with intent. There's no such thing as a lazy person, only someone who hasn't found the goal. Once you find your goal, there's no stopping you. And that's what happening with this particular lady, and what's happening with the ladies I'm training. They're coming in and training with intent. You're really intensely training, and that's when you get the resistance. Sadly, I've had a lot of people over my years of training, and they've resisted the resistance training. They wanted to do the light weights. They wanted to do the stretching. They wanted to do mobility training. They've avoided the resistance training all their lives, and they haven't benefited from this. And guys, you've almost leaned into your resistance training, and you get it. So if you do this resistance training, but if you do it with intent and you do it consistently, not once a week, not twice a week, we're talking intensely. And it doesn't have to be weight training. You can do it walking faster. Anything that gives you that feeling of, that sort of feeling when you're doing an arm wrestle with a mate and you can't stop, that's the intensity you need. It's the 1 or 2 last repetitions after maybe a set of 20 or 30. It's the 1 or 2 last repetitions after you've done that, doing that fast walk as fast as you can. You can't go anymore and you go past that point. That's the intent. That's the intensity we're looking for. That's the resistance we want. And people resist that sort of training. And you've got to do it consistently. Regular, I think it was Miriam Nelson in her book, Strong Woman, Strong Bones, said, regular, intense weight-bearing activity. And weight-bearing is skipping. Weight-bearing is walking up a hill fast. It doesn't have to be, it has to be lifting weights. Okay? So, please get into the resistance training. Do not resist the resistance training. And if the guys there listening to this, and if there's girls out there listening, ladies out there listening to this, great. If you can get your partner to support you on this, and you can work it out, as in working it out and work it out together. Let's work it out together. You can get your results because you've got support. So, that saying, happy wife, happy life? Well, I like to have another saying, happy gainer, happy trainer. We'll be back after this.
The men's movement. It's like having a personal trainer in your pocket. Only better.
Let's talk about the front door of the fridge door challenge. Let's go to the front door and fridge door. Where is my front door fridge door button? Cannot find my front door and fridge door. Apologies. Anyway, there it is. Okay, front door or fridge door, guys. This is what I'd like to talk to you about, the 2 best ways to lose weight. The 2 things you need to help you lose weight. And it's really easy. You've got to either consume food or eat food. If you want to change your body shape, either you consume food or you eat food. There's no other thing to do. You either consume it, mindlessly eating, what we talked about last week, where you've sort of in the cinema, remember that experiment in the cinema? That's consuming food, or you eat food. And I told you about that last week, but now I want to tell you about probably the 2 simplest things to do and 2 simplest things to use to get maximum results if your aim is to change the shape of your body. You ready? This is like, whoa, research is going to blow this away. You've probably heard of a thing called mindfulness. I hate that word mindfulness because it means nothing. Oh, we're going to get mindful. I like to use the word present time consciousness, which is the same thing, but it gets you mindful if you think about it in present time consciousness. But even better, it's all very well to say, I'm going to be mindful of eat. I'm going to be mindful of eat. What the hell does that mean? I'll be mindful. So let's get with this. This is what I want you to do if you're trying so hard to lose weight. These are the 2 things you need. You ready? Here we go. That's them. So back in the old days, when you ate, and we ate with these implements called the knife and fork, if that was a plate in front of me, right, we pick up the knife, we pick up the fork, we cut the food, we put down the knife, stick with me, we pick it up, put it to our mouth, put the food in our mouth, and we chew and we enjoy the taste of the food. And we really enjoy the taste. And we're tasting it and it feels fantastic in our mouth and we're smelling it and all of the good stuff. We can see the food down there on our plate and we're really enjoying it. So we really want you to eat food and really eat food and really enjoy it and chew it and, slow down and really smell it. And when you eat food, you'll find you eat less of it. Studies have shown that people who ate a slither of a banana, and they feel like they've eaten the whole one. That's probably about 1/10 of what they normally eat. Same thing with strawberries. Rather than eat a punnet of strawberries, if they slow down and eat the punnet and strawberries, you wouldn't eat with a knife and fork, obviously, but you get what I'm saying. When you eat your food and slow down and use a thought zapper to get yourself in the present time consciousness, these things here are great thought zappers because they slow you down. Have your pizza with a knife and fork. Have your fish and chips with a knife and fork. You'll find you'll have a piece of fish and a little bit of chip, and you'll slow down. At the end of the meal, you've probably had about 6, maybe 7 chips, as opposed to, the classic thing, mindlessly eating. It's all very well to say get mindful, but you need the tools. You need the tools to help you, and you need yourself in present time consciousness to get there. So the thought zapper today is this stuff. These are great thought zappers. Other good thought zappers are like having your ring on different fingers or your watch in a different hand, so you can sort of, when you're ordering in the coffee shop, you can say, I won't eat that donut today because you've got your thought zapper on. It brings you back in the present time consciousness. When you get back in the present time consciousness, when you're eating your food, you'll eat your food rather than consume your food. So it's really important to eat your food rather than consume your food. And this is exactly the things we do here on the Men's Movement and at the Front Door Challenge. These are the things we talk about whilst you're doing the training. So you reach out the front door and I train you, and these habits, these audio coaching habits are built and they're helping you throughout the day. So if you've already doing the challenge, you've done the challenge, or you're about to start or contemplate starting the challenge, that's the sort of things we do here at the Men's Movement. So, eat your food, guys. Remember to eat your food. Knife, put down the knife, fork, smell the food, taste the food, enjoy the food, and eat. Really eat. You get success with eating. That's the true sort of foundation of changing your body shape. You want to change your body shape one way or the other way. Consume food, eat food. Okay, we'll be back after this.
The Men's Movement. It's like having a personal trainer in your pocket. Only better.
So thanks so much for being on the live stream, guys. We have these weekly live streams, and I really enjoy these weekly live streams. It's great fun. I can share the knowledge I've learned from you guys during the week, and I can also share the knowledge that I've learned from the clients here at the gym here in Down Under. So now we're going to buy a coffee. And I love this section because I want you to help build the Men's Movement. So get yourself a coffee and scan that code there. And if you scan that code, that goes to a particular website we've got, and we are here supporting a couple of great businesses. We are supporting Blokes from The Polished Man, which is a great charity here in Australia. You've possibly seen it if you're living in Australia with the guys with the fingernail painted. We're supporting violence against people in home, in the streets, where people who sort of do that violence. We hope to support them. We also support the people who they're being sort of the victims of that sort of I hate using the word victims, experiencing that sort of crime. And we've also supported a charity called the Men's Shed, which is a great charity here in Australia. I'm not sure if it's around the world, but I think there's about 3,500 men's sheds all around Australia. So if you go to, or when you go to, when you go, here you go, there's some great sort of words with psychology. Words got power, guys. When you go to that website, click on that. So stop the live stream and click on that QR code, and you'll go to that. And also the links are also in the descriptions of the Men's Movement YouTube channel. When you go there, you can not only support the movement and help us to keep going with the movement, but you can also, the money you donate, you can choose which charity it goes to. Every bit helps, and it helps this content, but also helps the guys, and we really appreciate you doing that. So thanks from the Men's Movement for that, and thanks to the Polished Man and to the Men's Shed. Fantastic charities here in Australia. We'll be back with What Would Des Do? Here we go. So what would Des do? Des, as if you haven't been on the live stream before, Des was a great client, but he's also he's a formula of so many clients put together. And this week we're sort of talking about what Des does. Des is a elderly client. He wasn't elderly when he started with me, but he trained with me for about 25 years. Fantastic guy. But I've got guys who train at the gym who are just they're amazing characters. They help me from behind here. They're amazing characters because they've been training with me for so long. The results that I've got with my clients come from the energy and the information that comes from guys like Des. And today I want to share what would Des do. So let's talk about Sigmund Freud, because Des would look at the way Sigmund Freud sort of answers this situation and be very similar to him. Last week we talked about, the Sigmund Freud, and I mentioned that, and we talked about food meaning something. Sometimes when you eat something, it means something. So I said I'm going to mention what Sigmund Freud said, because sometimes if you eat something, it reminds you of a particular thing. And I mentioned, I think it's been a big week, but I'm pretty sure last week's live stream, we talked about the guy who had the soft drink, and he drank it, and he said it reminded him of parties and being at parties. And he couldn't drink it from the can. He had to drink it from the bottle. Do you remember that guy? He had to drink it from the bottle, and he said when he had the soft drink, he was drinking it, and he had to hear that sound, because it reminded him of being at a party. And I leaned in and said, well, that's interesting. I was curious, and said, so you can't drink soft drink from a can? He said, no. I said, I can't pour you a soft drink. He goes, no, I've got to drink it from the bottle myself. So he wasn't eating his food. He was consuming a memory. And then I didn't talk about some other great stories with that. A particular guy who had M&Ms, was addicted to M&Ms. He was having a packet of M&Ms a day. In his drawer at his desk, he had a packet of M&Ms. He'd eat a packet a day. And I leaned in and said, well, how do you do that? I'm thinking, how do you eat a packet of M&Ms a day? And I was thinking, I was verbalizing out loud, how do you do that? And he actually started going on about how he did it. And I wasn't expecting this answer. And he said, what I do is I open the packet and I put the brown ones to the side, and I eat the rest of them, and I eat the brown ones last. And I went, whoa, that's fascinating. I was just going, how do you do that? Meaning, how do you do it? And he lurched into how he did it. And I said, oh, wow, that's really interesting. I said, why? I bet you're wondering yourself, why would he eat the brown ones last? And he said, well, it's pretty simple. He's looking at me like I was a fool. He said, it's pretty simple. My dad would come home from work on Thursday night. He'd bring home the packet of M&Ms, and my brother and I would rush to the front door. We get the packet of M&Ms, and we divvy them up, and we ate the brown ones last. And come on, guys, you should see what I'm seeing here. Was he eating the M&Ms, or was he consuming a memory? All right, so think this could be pennies could be dropping for you guys right now. Is this what you're doing? Are you eating food, or are you consuming a memory? There's no judgment, just acknowledgement, because we've all got our habits. We've all got our habits of why we do things. With my family, probably not so much now, but fish and chips on a Friday night, and I'd go down and have fish and chips. And on the way home, even now, picking up the fish and chips with my own kids, I'd eat a chip on the way home, because it reminded me when I was a kid walking to the fish and chip shop with my dad, and as we walked home, he let me have one or two chips. So am I eating food, or am I consuming a memory? So sometimes food is food, and sometimes it's a memory. and not everything is so stressed out and like, Jack, it's getting so heavy with all this stuff, food. I'm eating my food. I got my knife and fork. I'm eating slowly. And what does this food mean? Why am I eating this raspberry? Why am I having this steak? And it's not always that. So I'll share a story of Sigmund Freud. I said to you last week, I'll share the story of Sigmund Freud. So Sigmund Freud is doing a speech, as he used to, Dr. Sigmund Freud, and he's talking about psychology and things like that. And at the end of the talk, he has a bit of a question time. And during the question time, a young man said, Dr. Freud, I noticed you talk about, having something in your mouth and putting something in your mouth and what that means. And, about having something sexually being put in your mouth. And Dr. Freud's saying yes. He said, well, half an hour before you did the seminar here, I noticed you behind, waiting to go on. I looked back and I saw you and you were smoking a cigar and you had something in your mouth. And the audience hushed and went, this young kid, this younger man has stumbled him. He stumped him. And Sigmund Freud reached into his jacket pocket. He reached in, he pulled out a new cigar, clipped off the end, and he said, sir, ladies and gentlemen, lit it up. Sometimes a cigar is just a cigar. And that's the same with your food. Sometimes they are emotional memories and you're consuming them, and sometimes it's just food. Don't acknowledge any memories that come up with you for your food. Just acknowledge it, but don't try to analyze every single thing, because sometimes a cigar is just a cigar. We'll be back in a moment.
The men's movement. It's like having a personal trainer in your pocket. Only better.
So this week I'd like you to reach out, to a mate. I said to you I was going to talk earlier about the doctor, the good doctor. We set up these live streams. I've started doing these live streams, possibly 4 to 5 months after the intention of doing them. There's a great guy out there who forms part of the What Would Des Do. His head and his energy and all of his knowledge is part of that What Would Des Do. When I ask what would Des do, great Dr. Paul. This is a dedication to him. Now, Paul, I'm going to reach out to him. I'm going to visit him tomorrow. And he's a great doctor. He's fantastic. Like I said, he was going to be part of the men's movement. He is a big part of the men's movement already, but he was going to be physically a part of the men's movement. We got a microphone set up for him. We got his lights set up for him. I gave him my old lights. I gave him a great microphone because his microphone in his computer wasn't working. I've got some footage of him. Maybe one day I'll release the footage of the conversation we had. The fantastic time. We spent about 15, 20 minutes because we couldn't get his, we couldn't see him. We could hear him, couldn't see him. And we said, like, there's probably a clip at the top of your computer. What sort of computer are you using? We had to go to his computer and we said, listen, Paul, what's that clip here above your computer? And there's a little flick there, and he flicked it up. We go, oh, that's great, Paul. We only spent, the last 20 minutes just trying to fix and, turn off and on and stuff. And so Paul's a great doctor, a fantastic doctor. He's been the president of the Australian Medical Association here in Australia. There's nothing he doesn't know about medicine. There's nothing he couldn't do for a patient. He's a great soul. And so I want to dedicate this part about reaching out for a friend, the power in reaching out for a friend. There's a great book called Tuesdays with Maury, which talks about a young student who comes across an old university lecturer and meets him and catches up with him every Tuesday. He reaches out to him. Reach out to your mates, guys. If your mates are in need, there's nothing better than having another guy give you a call. Whether it's a female or male, whether they're older or younger than you, reach out to them, because it means a lot to them. And not that you're doing it for selfish reasons, but it makes you feel good too. But the power with this is in the follow-up. I've been, teasing Paul for the last 4 or 5 months, saying if he doesn't come into the gym soon, I'm going to have to bring a home workout to him, and I'm going to be dropping off push-ups to him and squats to him and giving him home deliveries, and he better be home when it gets delivered. Sadly, it's not. He's in hospital now, but I'll be going to the hospital tomorrow to visit Paul, and I'm going to get him to do squats. I'm going to get him to get up and do squats if he can. If he can't, I'll just share bad jokes with him, and we'll share crazy stories with him all afternoon, have a cup of tea and whatever. But the power is in the follow-up, because you would encourage your friends, you would encourage yourself, and you would encourage your kids. They go for a job, they don't hear back. The power is in the follow-up. If you're a salesperson, you know about this. The power is in the follow-up. There's not a guy out there who doesn't know this, but you've got to put it into action. Otherwise, they're just words. If you don't take action, it's pointless. You know that story of the two frogs sitting on a lily pad? I'll just sort of give you a bit of a heads up here. There's two frogs sitting on a lily pad, just quickly, and there's a big lily pad here, and there's two frogs. There's one frog there and one frog there. There's two frogs sitting on a lily pad. And one decides to jump in the water. There's the water around them. One decides to jump in the water. How many get wet? Two frogs sitting on the lily pad. One decides to jump in the water. How many get wet? In fact, I won't tell you the answer to that. I'll tell you the answer to that next week. I'll just write down my notes about telling you the answer next week. I've got to write that down, because I don't write that down, I forget things. So the power is in the follow-up, guys. I've been contacting Paul, finally going to reach out to him. Now, he hasn't responded. Already he hasn't responded to it. I know I'm going to meet him tomorrow. I'm going to be texting him. So do the same. If you're at work and you've got a mate who needs a hand, maybe with their exercise, with their movement, whatever, text them and say, hey, or not even text them, tell them, say, tonight I'll be calling you at 6 o'clock, and I'm going to be doing my men's movement challenge, and you're going to do your men's movement challenge, the front door challenge, and both of you can do it, and I'm going to text you to see how you're going, and text you to tell you I'm going to start. And then maybe half an hour later when you get back, text them and say, how'd you go? I just went for a walk where I live. You went for a walk where you live. How good is this? And that's the ripple effect. Recently, someone said to me that this ripple effect is so good, but they're thinking of calling it the wave effect. It's creating a whole tsunami and creating a real powerful change. Because at the men's movement, we talk about if you can change the shape of one man and help them get moving, you can change the shape of the whole community one man at a time. And I call that the ripple effect. Change the shape of the whole community one man at a time. And that's the ripple effect we're trying to create here at the Front Door Challenge, and people becoming the front door champions. But this guy said, it's a wave. We can create this wave and it gets out of control. And that's what we're trying to do. So, one small action, please reach out, because, there's one thing guys can do is change the shape of their whole family, their friends, their mates. So please do that, guys. And we'll be back in a moment.
Be sure to go to our website, www.themensmovement.com.au.
Okay, so I hope you're enjoying the live stream. I'm really enjoying doing these. I think my family's enjoying me doing these, because it gets me out of the door and stop ranting to them, because the last 20 or 30 years I've been on soapboxes all over, and I've sort of ranted about this stuff for so many years. I was on YouTube back, nearly 20 years ago. If you can find some really old videos of me on there, jumping up and down and screaming down the camera, and I still can't help myself. Recently, a guy at the gym said to me, I've watched a video of yours. Slow down. Just take your time, slow down. So I'm always getting feedback, and I'm trying to take it on board. So I'm hoping this one's a bit slower, a bit clearer. And let's talk about the front door challenge. Here it is, because I've talked if you're doing the front door challenge, awesome. If you're thinking about doing the challenge, this is what it's all about.
www.themensmovement.com.au.
Okay, so what we do at the front door challenge is we get you download the front door challenge. You go to the website, go to those QR codes which are sitting there, right there. You go to those and you sign up for the front door challenge. Now it's great value. You get me over 4 decades, over 40 years of knowledge of my fitness training stuff in 30-minute blocks. Sometimes it's 35 minutes, sometimes it's 40 minutes. But you play every morning. You get a new email sent to you. It's got the program on it. You plug it in. You plug your headphones in. Walk out the front door, and you turn left or turn right. I'll tell you which way to go if you're having trouble with that, and you just go. It doesn't matter. I've got people who train in the bush, in the country, in farmland in Ireland. I've got people who are in New York City, in the streets of New York City, all over Australia, other parts of America, and people in England doing the front door challenge, and they do it at their own time, at their own pace, but they've got me in their head. So whether you're a beginner, intermediate, advanced, whether you're coming back, if you've got injuries, whatever you've got, it doesn't matter. I accommodate for all of them. I've trained over 120 people at once on a school camp. This is easy for me to modify the words I say that make it doable. I don't need to see your technique. I know what you're going to do. I know what the mistakes you're going to make before you even make them. And I'm not just claiming that because of this is the latest buzzword. I'm claiming that because I know I've done over 4 decades of training people. I know exactly what's going to happen. And that's where, my skills here and my knowledge here comes to you, and you head out the front door and you go. And you get 30 personal training sessions, 30 days of this. Remember I said before about intent? It's got to be consistently. You get into, and it just changes the shape of you, and then you'll be on your way. And the great thing is you can still be part of the live streams, and I've got programs you can do afterwards that I'm not going to talk about now because I'm just talking about today, and the live stream is about the front door challenge. So go to the QR code and sign up, and it's less than $100. It's like about, I can't do the maths right now, $3 something a session. For a 4-decade personal trainer, every session, $3. It's awesome value, and when we can change you and change the shape of you, everything will change. Your relationship with your family will change. Your mates at work, your performance at work will change. People will notice. And because I'm also giving you my knowledge of how to change and how to change your shape along the way, like the stuff we're doing here in the live stream, you get educated. I call it personal entertainment and personal edutainment. So it's great fun. Get on board, QR code those things, and sign up for the front door challenge if you haven't started yet. And if you're halfway through, keep on going. And if you've done it and you can do it again, that's also a great thing. Once you've done it, you've got these programs forever. You can repeat them anytime you want. So keep doing the front door challenge and keep creating that ripple effect to get you guys reaching for the front door, not the fridge door. We're back in a second.
Be sure to go to our website,
Oh, I cut that off. I apologize for that. Hit the wrong button there. So it's 30 days of training, guys. Not complicated programs, just, no BS. We help you reach for the front door, not the fridge door. So there you are, guys. Thanks so much for joining us on the live stream this week. I think we've covered a lot of things. Next week, I'm going to talk about the frogs. So drop your questions in the comments below. Email me. Go to the website. Go to the red part of the website right at the back or bottom, and you'll see that bit. And you can, You can talk to me direct, and I can talk to you direct. It's really fun. You just hit the button. It records a voice message of you saying anything you want to me. I get it as an email, and I get a button which goes bang, and I can record straight away, and it goes back to you. So we can have this 2-way, 3-way conversation. We can keep going forever we want to, but we won't. You've got a life. I've got a life, guys. I'm going to get back to my family right now. You guys get back to yours. Keep reaching for the front door. We'll see you next week, guys. Thanks so much. Take care. Cheers.
You've been listening to the Men's Movement. Look forward to seeing less of you next time.